So in the last class, we have seen generics, and in today's session, we are going to discuss what are the IO streams with respect to Java, right? Keep one point in mind. Whatever the topics we are discussing with respect to a fifth unit, right? Intention of keeping those topics is to just give you a hands-on experience about what exactly those topics are, right? What I mean to say is, if I talk about the generics, it cannot be finished only with respect to a method generics, class generics, and a constructor generics. You will be having a different cases with respect to class generics, with different cases with respect to method generics and all, right? I told you clearly while discussing itself, don't worry about and don't go in detail with respect to all those things, right? See, again, I'm telling you, intention of keeping all these topics is to just give you an overview what exactly these topics will deal with. Okay, so generics was dealing with respect to a type safety, and the same with respect to this particular file IO also. Okay, file IO, again, this is a very vast topic with so many different methods and all, right? We are not going to discuss all those different methods. We are not going to put our hands on how to postmortem a file, extract, seek, all those things. We are not going to discuss all the methods of a file, because if we include a file itself, it will be around some 10 hours of a 10 to 12 hours of a topic, right? So they didn't kept everything for you with respect to a file. They just concentrated on you should be perfect with just IO operations by using a file. That was a basic intention, and the intention was to just put some hands on this particular file IO, right? I'll try to simplify the things. I'll try to give you a better overview, right? So keeping these basics, you can attempt any of vast methods that are available with respect to these particular classes, right? I'll try to give enough confidence to work with the files in a Java. Is that clear? Shall we proceed with IO streams? Okay. So basically, stream a sequence of data. Okay. IO stream means input stream or output stream. Input stream means an input source or output destination representing different types of sources, example disk files. Input stream. All these IO streams will be available for us in the package called as java.io, right? So this will allow you to convert between Unicode character stream and a byte stream of non-Unicode text, right? So basically, with respect to input output operations, right, you will be having a two types of what I can say data transfer, right? One is by using a byte stream, and another one is by using a character stream, right? Byte stream will be a bit what I can say bit a basic version, right? And a character stream is like a new versions, means advanced kind of a stuff. When I'm talking about a byte stream, each character will be converted to its byte equivalent, right? And that particular byte information will be transferred. Input output, right? I'm going to perform input and output operations, right? Whenever I'm performing input, that means whenever I'm reading an input, right? So the alphabet whichever you are going to type, so that will be converted to a byte format. That means 8-bit byte. Okay, so as a byte it will be transferred, right? Character means you just assume that character will be taking 2 bytes. That means this particular character stream, I'm not saying about a data type called as a char. What I'm saying is a character stream, right? When I'm talking about a character stream, the data which is communicated will be of a 2 bytes. That means now one character will not be converted to a 8 bits, rather it will be converted to a 16 bits and a transfer, right? So generally this particular character stream will be used when you have a bigger data, something like pictures you want to transfer, files you wanted to transfer, or a communication need to be done with respect to files, or you wanted to compare whether both the images are the same or not, right? So in those situations you will be using a character stream, If you are working with a basic data, right, so basic string or a normal character, right, so in all those situations you will be going with a byte stream. Clear with a byte stream, character stream. Byte stream is a primitive, character stream is with respect to files with a bigger size and all. Clear with the basic difference? Okay. Now, whenever we are dealing with file operations, we have to remember a few points. First point is, whenever we are working with respect to files, basic property is you should have a file, right? Before you perform either input operation or output operation on that file, first cross check whether a file is there or not, right? You will be having some methods for that. I'm just giving you an overview, right? So first you have to check whether a file is there or not. If a file is there, then you have to configure two things. What are those two things are? Whether you want to read from that file or you want to write into that file, right? So what I'm saying is, let me write the statements so that it will be clear for you, right? So what I said is, basically first we need to check whether file is existing or not, right? So once you know file exists, then you have to do two things. First thing is, if you want to read from the file, you have to configure what is called as input stream. That means I want to read from a file, that means input should be this particular file for me now, right? if you want to write into that file, you need to have a something called as output stream, right? So once you have a configured, either you want to go with the input stream or a output stream, you need to use suitable methods. That means if you are interested in a reading a value, then use a method called a read, right? See, method's name will slightly vary. Either you are going with respect to character stream or a byte stream, but I'm giving you a basic syntax, right? If you are interested, so means if you are making a file as an input stream, then read a information, or if you are making a file as an output stream, then write the information, right? So once you are done with these values, you can close your file pointer, right? So basically this is not a mandatory step need to be written. Once you are closing application, automatically it will closes all the file references whatever you have created, right? So what I'm saying is, this particular 4 points is overview, right? Based on which type of stream you are using, either you are using a byte stream or a character stream, the function names or the classes which you are going to use will slightly vary, right? So you here I have written something like as a input stream and output stream, but if you are going with respect to a byte stream, you will be having a something called as a file input stream and a file input stream. Oh, I wrote a right file output stream, right? So similarly with respect to a read or a write methods, you will be having a something called as a reader, and you will be having a something called as a writer, right? So what I'm saying is, method names might be vary, but this is a standard procedure need to be followed, either you are going with respect to a byte stream or a character stream. Did I made a points clear? Again, I'm telling you, whatever I have written, these 4 steps are an overview, and method names and class names will vary based on which stream of information you are considering. Either you are considering a byte streams or a character streams. Yes, this is everything is about a file handling. Right. The next point which we have to discuss is, I directly said there will be something like as a input stream and output stream. Are there only input stream or output stream? Do you have any other things also? Yeah, I have many other things. What I mean to say is, 1 second, let me show you this one. Yeah, file is exist or not. This is the first step, and the second step is to configure input stream and output stream, right? So now what I'm saying is, Not only this means this is a step, reading and writing is one of a step by using some streams. Do I have only these classes? Do I have any other classes which can be comfortable in reading and writing input kind of a stuff? The answer is yes. You have a vast different stream classes which can be used. This diagram represents those classes. That means those different objects, right? So whenever you are saying a particular object, you will be, by using that particular object, either you will be performing input or output, right? So if you are going with respect to input, you can use the input stream. If you are going with respect to output, you can use the output stream, right? So when I say input stream, input can be from anywhere, right? Input can be from anywhere. If you are taking from a file, then it will be a file input stream. If your interest is to collect the data from a different files, different files, if you want to collect, then it will be a byte array input stream. You can use this particular object, right? You have a something called as a filter input stream, right? So with respect to filter input stream, you have a categories. One is a buffered input stream and a data input stream. Basically what these things are showing is how you can take a data. That means from which positions. See, basically when I'm talking about the input stream, data is there in a file. Data is there in a file. Now what are the different classes or methods that are available to take a data from that particular file? That is a question, right? Using all these four different objects, when I say object, obviously they belong to a particular class, right? So here these names represents the class names, right? So what I'm saying is from a file, you can take a data in any of these four formats, right? Either by using a file input stream, either by using a byte array input stream, either by using a filter input stream, either by using a object input stream, and each of these objects will have a slight changes. Again, I told you we are not going to in deep how exactly these things are going to work. So what we will be discussing in our example is how to use your file input stream and how to use your file output stream, right? So the rest of the things are there. It is up to you. If you want to do some R&D on these things, you can use, so means you can just Google like how to use a byte array input stream. It will show you an example on that particular aspect, right? Is that clear? Shall we proceed further? See, once you see an example, then you will be feeling a more comfort. So that I'll assure you. So for a time being, how many number of points you can put in your mind, you put those many number of points. Once you will take an example, I'll try to cover up whatever the things we have discussed. Right. So initially itself, I told you, you will be having two different categories. One is a byte stream and another one is a character stream. So it is just giving an explanation. If you are going with a byte stream, it will be taking a 8-bit bytes. So this is how the information will be transferred. And classes used for input and output will be a file input stream and a file output stream, right? So if you are, so means these are the different classes that are available with respect to a byte stream. So you can use all these different classes to work with these things. That means to work with an examples or a files, right? Same set of things will be there. See, while giving an input, we have written something like this, right? File input stream, byte array input stream, right? So based on this one only, you will be having different classes, right? Buffered input stream, buffered output stream, data input stream, data output stream, file input stream, file output stream, input stream, output stream, print stream. These are the different classes by using which you can work with a byte stream. So similarly, you will be having a with respect to a character stream also, right? So here we were using a file input stream and a file output stream. If you are going with respect to character, you will be using a something called as file reader and a file writer. Intention is same. Intention is to point to your input file and output file. That is the intention. right? If you are using a byte, then you are going to use a classes called as a file input stream, file output stream. If you are going with respect to character stream, then you will be using a file reader and a file writer, right? Internal implementation will be a different, but working will be a same. That means if you are just looking at output, so output will be a same, right? So these are the different classes that are available with respect to a character stream. Shall we see an example so that these particular statements or objects will be clear for you to understand the things in a better fashion? Yes, yeah, enough theory, enough theory. Before we proceed with the example, keep these 4 points in mind, because based on these, we will be writing a program. Okay, yeah. First, we need to check whether a file is there or not, right? If it is not there, we have to create a file. Then we need to configure your input stream and output stream, right? So once you have configured input stream and output stream, you can read from an input stream and you can write into output stream. This is what we are going to see with respect to our example, right? Okay, so file operations, right? So I didn't do anything. So just use the import java.io because I wanted to perform input output operations. And whenever I'm using a file, so obviously it will be throwing an exception called as file not found exception. And means input stream and output stream I'm using. So it will be expecting a error, which is called as IO exception, right? So all these things are a checked exceptions. So your program insists you to write a things in a try catch block or explicitly specify that one in a throws, right? Okay. Now we will write a simple program wherein which we will be creating one folder. Okay, we will see what are the instructions to create a folder. Once we have created a folder, we will create a file in that particular folder, right? We will put some information in that file. Okay, try to print that particular information onto a console first. If it is printing fine on the console, then we will use file output stream to write that particular input into some other file. Are you clear with overall idea? So that we can easily proceed with the things. 1 second. Okay, right. So let me create object of a file class. Let me say this one as a f1 is equal to new file of double quotes c colon slash okay test. I'm just checking which slash will be used. Right, correct. Now this particular f1 is just a reference of the file, right? Say for example, if I am writing something like this, I don't have any folder called a test in my C drive. Let me just show you. That means my intention was to create a file which is called as input.txt under the folder called a test. Okay, but I don't have a folder created a test. I don't have a file created which is called as input.txt, right? Now what I'm doing is whatever is my expected path, I just specified in that particular f1 file, right? So now let me just check what is the status of that particular f1. System dot out dot println, right? f1 dot exists means whether it is existing or not. This is what I wanted to check. What is my intention is, if I just write a file f1 is equal to new file of that particular path, is it going to create that particular file for me? That was my question. I just wanted to cross check whether this is possible or not. If it is able to create, then this particular system.out.println statement will return a true for me. If it is not able to perform that particular task, then obviously it will return a false for me. No errors. it is showing a false. That means this is just a pointing a reference to this particular file. Whatever you have specified, internally it is not going to do anything, right? Same file object can be used even for creating a directories also, right? Now let me use this particular f1 to create a directory first, right? So let me remove this particular input type, some input.txt. Let me just show you this particular C drive and show you clearly that uh, I don't have any folder called as a test. One second. Okay, so right, so this is my C drive and I don't have anything called as a test folder over here, right? So what is my intention now is I just wanted to create a folder first, then I'll go creating a file in that particular folder, or you can directly create a without a program also, but just I wanted to show you means using the program also it is possible to create the things, right? So let me go to the program. Okay, so here let me write f1 dot. My intention is to make a folder, so I'll be calling a method called mkdir, which stands for make a directory. Okay, so let me just compile a program. No errors. Now when it is able to create a folder, obviously f1 is existing, right? F1 exists because you have created a stuff. Now here it should show true when it is able to create a folder. Okay, yes, it is showing a true. That means it is able to create a folder for me. So let me just cross check whether it has created a folder for me or not. Yes, it has created something called as test over here. Do you have anything in that? No, I don't have anything in that. Are you clear with whatever statements I have written here? And mkdir, if you anybody knows, this is a Unix command, right? So in a Java, your file handling is developed by keeping in mind that particular Unix environment. So the commands of a Unix environment can be used with respect to the files. Is that clear? Important conclusion what you have to remember is f1 is just holding the whatever the string you have specified. It don't have a permission, it don't have a functionality, it don't have a rights to create anything whatever has been specified as the argument, right? So what f1 will do is if it is there it will point to that particular value. If it is not there it will not have anything. Clear? F1, that means that particular file object is just a reference that we are going to create. Clear? Right. So now already I have created a folder. Let me say that in that folder I need to have a something called as input.txt, right? So let me remove this particular statement because it has already created a directory for me. So let these things can be as it is. Right now, what is my intention? I wanted to create a file over that particular path. That means whatever has been given as an argument here. So same file I wanted to create. That means input.txt file I need to have in that particular path. So file means, one second, the method name is create a new file. Okay. On this particular f1 dot create new file. This is the method which I have to use for that, right? So let me save and let me just cross check again. This will be shown, so means if it is showing you a true, then obviously it has created a file for you. Yes, created a file for you. So if you want to cross check, you can cross check. This is a test folder. Under that I have a something called as input.txt created, right? If you want to create a folder, you will be using a file reference mkdir. If you want to use create a file, you will be using a file reference followed by that input, so means create a new file method, right? So within this particular input.txt, within this particular input.txt, let me write some statements, something like object oriented programming using Java, right? So this is a small information which I have kept in this particular input.txt. Okay, so now what I will do is I will prepare an input stream and output stream, right? I'll make an input stream to point to this particular file, and I'll ask output stream to copy this particular content into that particular output.txt, right? So shall we proceed with the things? I have an input file ready, created by using a statement called as a create a new file. I have entered some information. Now what I'll be doing is I'll be reading information from this particular file by using a file input stream, right? So once I will print on a console, if it is printing a file, then I'll use a output stream to copy the same content which is there in the input.txt to output.txt. Shall we see the things if you are clear with the overall objective? Okay, 1 second. Yeah, here I have a file. So let me have a few more statements, right? So control V, I just need to have a output.txt, and let me call this one as f2. Okay, so I will create a new file if there does not exist any file with that particular name already input.txt. If it is not there, then I'll create a new file, right? If not, f1 dot exist, right? If it does not exist, then I'll create a new file. If it is existing, then why to create? You proceed with the other stuff, right? Okay. So what is our next procedure? Let me remove this statement. What are the things that we have to do later? We have to configure what is called as an input stream and output stream. So let me write those statements of how to configure your input stream and output stream. Right. Things are clear. That means if you know the procedure, it will be a very easy for you to go proceed with the things, right? So procedure, what I said is I need to have file input stream. I'll say it as in is equal to new file input stream. Okay, so which is our input stream now? Which file is our input stream? Where you have your input kept? What should be the argument passed here? Yes, my input I said like f1. That means input stream should point to f1, right? Similarly, file output stream out is equal to new file output stream. Which file will be output stream now? Fast, which is my output stream where I wanted to store the information. F2, yes. Okay, so once you have configured your input and output, what has to be done? Now your in object is pointing to what? Input.txt, right? So what I will do is before I write a things into a f2, I'll just print onto a console. Let us just cross check whether a reading is done or not. Okay, so this is a byte stream, right? Every time one byte will be taken and that will be printed, right? So let me take a variable called as a k. What I'll do is while that means I'll be reading each and every character from that particular input file, right? So whatever the character I have read, so that I'll be putting into a variable called as a k. right? While k is equal to, right, in a dot read, that means reading information from input stream, right? If this one is not equal to, right, so not equal to in the sense, if you don't have any value, then it will return a -1 for you, right? What I mean to say is, from a input, are you reading information, right? In the input, if you don't have any value to be read, right, so then it will throw you what is called as -1, right? I am just equating, I am just cross checking, is it throwing a -1? If it is throwing a -1, then it indicates that you are done with whatever you are supposed to read. Clear? Not equal to, right? When it is equal, come out, right? When it is not equal, you are in a reading process, right? So each character from an input file, now it will be kept in this particular value called as a k, right? So now what is our intention? What I said, I just wanted to check whether it is reading the things properly or not. I just wanted to go with the console output first. If it is working fine, then I'll put the same information into a f2, right? System.out println whatever was there with respect to k, right? You print that particular value, right? Shall we cross check? I didn't use a f2, I didn't use this particular f2. My intention is to just check whether it is printing properly on a console first. If it is printing properly on a console, then a reading of information is fine. Once I am sure that the reading of information is fine, then I'll go with the writing that information into a f2. Shall I cross check? Compiled fine, no exceptions. Oh, what are you getting? What was the information in a file and what you are getting? You have written capital O, it has shown 79. OB 98, it is showing. B is a 98, it is saying. Okay. J is 106, right? E is 101. I am just telling whatever we have written in that particular input.txt, what it is printing, what has to be done. Any idea, any information? It is showing the ASCII code, ASCII values. Now what is our intention? We don't want to have ASCII values, right? So what we have to tell to a k is, okay, k, you are getting you are displaying us all the ASCII values. Convert those ASCII values to a character and print those characters equivalent of ASCII, right? So just done a explicit typecasting. Let us just cross check. Is it same? That means whether it is really ASCII value or something else. What it is printing now? Object-oriented programming, whatever we have written in that particular file. It is showing in each character in a different line because you are using a println statement. If you are not using a println, if you are using a print, then it might be displaying in a single line because one after the other it will display. Compiled fine. Yes. Object-oriented programming using a Java. Clear? Are we able to read the information from the file called input.txt and printing of that particular information on our console? Any doubts in any of these statements, you can post in the chat box. If you don't have a questions with respect to this, then we will make use of our output stream and write this particular input you have read into an output stream, that is the output.txt file. No questions till this point? Understood how the things are working? Have we created output.txt in our folder? Didn't create, right? We were having just input.txt. We didn't had something called as output.txt. If you want me to show, one second. Okay, when I wrote output stream, it has created a file for me, right? So let it be. We will proceed further. intention now is to write this particular data in our output.txt file, right? So let me create a one more variable called a c while same condition, right? C is equal to in dot read if this is not equal to -1, right? When a condition is true, what has to be done is this process, right? So previously you have a printed information in a system.out.print, that means a standard console. Now I don't want to go with that. What I wanted to do is I have a output stream kept, right? So wherever the output stream is pointing, you use a method called as a write, right? So whatever you got from a C, you write that particular value of a C into that particular thing, right? Now here we said that explicitly typecasting is required. Now let us just cross check what will be printed here. Will it print a ASCII value or will it directly print a character for me, right? So let me just compile a program. Compilation is a fine. Run the program, it is displaying on my console. The same thing I just wanted to confirm with respect to output.txt, and keep this particular point in the mind. I am not explicitly typecasting here while writing information. So let me just share you that particular folder. Yes, here I have output.txt created. So, oh, nothing has been written in this output.txt. One second. Nothing has been written. One second. For F2, I have a small question in the chat box asked. Sir, why we haven't written F2 dot create a new file? Because when I am saying it to go with the writing information, if you don't have a file also, it will create a new file for you and then it will write information into that. Okay. If you have a already file existing, right, then it will override that particular information, whatever is there in that particular file, it will write a new content, right? So with respect to F2, that is with respect to output stream, it is not required to specify that. It is not required to specify that I have to create, right? One second, I'm just checking one statement. Writer is equal to new writer of F2. I'm making a writer over there using a writer object dot write off. Writer dot write off. What else to write? It is showing a small, means it is not working with respect to alt dot write. Maybe some problem with respect to my JVM or what. I'll just cross check and I'll share you a proper program for writing the information, right? So I need to justify this particular F2, that is output stream. So I'll just cross check what is a problem with respect to write and I'll share you the program. Actually, this is your lab program 11. So means instead of taking some other example, I thought to take the same example. Before the class, I actually cross-checked the program, and but I didn't. Means I thought like when it was written or writing, I thought it might have a written in this particular output.txt, but now I am seeing that it is not writing into that particular output.txt. I'll just cross verify are there any method need to be added to this one or what. I'll update you with respect to proper program on writing information, right? So this is how you can read and how you can print onto a console. But writing, that means reading is okay, but I'll just cross check a method to write the information. um, I'll just check once again. Writer, can I use writer? I'm using a byte stream information, that means a byte stream class. Okay, so writer class is not available. One second. Byte stream for writing information. There is some issue with respect to write. Um, I'll just cross check and get back to you.